Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. All right, let's talk about where the Cleveland Browns coaching search is, what Jim Schwartz's status is going to be with this team going forward. Some interesting news coming out of Atlanta to kind of follow up on the video we did earlier today. And we got to talk about the Rooney Rule, right? Now, again, whenever you bring up the Rooney Rule, it becomes a whole different argument that people want to have. So we'll try to keep this specific to the Brown situation. But we'll start with the Jim Schwartz thing, right? So Pro Football Talk, who has never really been that reliable of a source for Cleveland Browns information, they are reporting that the Browns have to weigh promoting Jim Schwartz or potentially losing him, a source told Pro Football Talk. I don't know why people are like putting these quotes out there. Like, this isn't what has already been understood, right? Like, the Browns will try to bring back Jim Schwartz. It's up to Jim Schwartz whether he wants to come back. And I don't think we know what the answer is there if Jim Schwartz will come back, because I don't know if Jim Schwartz has an answer. I will say this, the Browns defensive coordinator job will not be that hard to fill. There's a lot of people, a lot of defensive coaches who look at the Browns defensive roster and say to themselves, they can make a great defense out of that, right? So if Jim Schwartz wants to come back, he will be able to come back, and the Browns will pay him handsomely to come back. But if Jim Schwartz does not want to come back, the Browns will probably be okay in replacing him. They will find somebody who wants this job. It's the complete opposite of what we think about the Browns' job on the offensive side, right? On the offensive side, the Browns don't have a quarterback. They don't have a real pathway to get any better. There's really no vertical upside for a coach taking that offensive job unless they're going to be the head coach. With the defensive coordinator job, man, like, the Browns can offer that job to somebody, and that person can probably become a head coach off of 2 years of good work with that defense. The Browns defense has their version of a quarterback. They got Myles Garrett, right? They got the best one in the NFL. That job's not going to be hard to fill. So yeah, it's up to Jim Schwartz whether he wants to come back. Do we know for a fact if Jim's going to come back? I don't know, but would Jim find a better job than Cleveland? I'd highly doubt it, right? Like, I don't think there's a better job that exists for Jim Schwartz than the Cleveland job for him. So that makes me lean towards the fact that Jim's probably going to stay in Cleveland and be the DC. See no reason for him to leave, unless he's like insulted that he didn't get the head coach job. But he's not getting a head coaching job anywhere else. So this is nothing new. I think it's being reported as if it's something new, but it's nothing new. You know, it's going to be up to Jim to decide whether he wants to stay as the DC if the Browns go a different direction at head coach. It looks like the Browns are going to go a different direction at head coach. And honest to God, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I don't think you should make this decision on whether you can retain Jim Schwartz or not. Would you like to retain Jim Schwartz? Absolutely. I'm okay with it. He gets a lot of shit because of the end arounds and the play action stuff. But at the end of the day, Jim Schwartz has coordinated 2 years of top 5 defenses in Cleveland. The problem has been the offense in Cleveland, right? So if Jim Schwartz wants to stay, I'm 100% happy with him staying. If Jim Schwartz does not want to stay, the Browns can replace him. So I don't think they should be sitting there afraid that they might have to replace Jim Schwartz. And I don't know if they are, right? It seems like they're going towards a younger name for the head coach position, right? There was all that smoke this weekend about, the Browns have already hired Jim Schwartz. Well, it's been like 3 days. Nothing's been announced. So obviously that was bullshit. So yeah, I think the Browns are quite okay with how things are. We'll see if Jim Schwartz is. If Jim Schwartz says he can be the defensive coordinator and step to that role, then I think Jim Schwartz is fine to keep at that role. If Jim Schwartz doesn't want to stay, you'd be able to replace him. But that's kind of my thoughts there. Let's talk about the Rooney Rule real quick, because the Browns have not, at least to our knowledge, and I think that's important, at least to our knowledge in the public, we don't know if the Browns have satisfied the Rooney Rule, which means we don't know if the Browns are free to hire a head coach. It might be that the Browns have satisfied the Rooney Rule. We just aren't aware of it, right? So the Rooney Rule is you have to interview 2 candidates of a minority background in relationship to football. So women and men of color, right? Well, obviously women of color as well. Woman or man of color, you got to interview 2 of them in person. It's ironic that the Browns are the ones getting the controversy for the Rooney Rule, given that I think the Browns are probably the most diverse front office in the NFL. Andrew Berry, obviously of color. Glenn Cook, obviously of color. And then you have Catherine, who is a woman. So like the Browns are pretty diverse there in their front office, probably the most diverse front office in the NFL. It's ironic that these are the people that people are yelling at for the Rooney Rule here. They got to satisfy the Rooney Rule. I think it is possible that they've already done it. We just don't know about it, right? Like they don't have to announce every interview that they've done. You would think an agent would leak it out, but if it's somebody who plans to stay on the team, they might want to keep it under wraps. Like if they interviewed Ephraim for the safety coach for the Browns, who's been getting some DC looks this cycle, if they interviewed him for head coach to satisfy the Rooney Rule, which he would satisfy the Rooney Rule, on top of interviewing Nate Scalise, then obviously that would be, they could bring back Doorday from Seattle and give him a second interview to satisfy the Rooney Rule. I really don't expect the whole Rooney Rule thing to be a real roadblock for the Cleveland Browns. If they want to hire Shieldhouse, if they want to hire Grant Udesky, they will figure out what they need to. And honestly, if they're going to go and hire one of these young but very inexperienced guys, I want that to be something that they really, really sit on and not make a knee-jerk decision on. So I'm fine with them taking extra time. So, yeah, that's the whole thing about the Rooney Rule. The Browns will probably be able to satisfy the Rooney Rule. Like, it's never been a problem for a team ever. I don't anticipate it being a problem for the Browns. I know Mike McCarthy, not Mike McCarthy. The idea of Mike McCarthy satisfying the Rooney Rule would be hilarious. But Mike McDaniel was supposed to be their second interview. But since Mike McDaniel took the job with the Los Angeles Chargers, that kind of changed things up. This should be a minor roadblock for the Cleveland Browns. They should be able to satisfy this rule here. You can have your debate on whether the Rooney Rule is good or not. I would prefer you do that somewhere outside of my comment section. I do not care for your Rooney Rule debates in my comment section. So if we could please keep that out of there, I would gladly appreciate it. But as it relates to the Cleveland Browns, I don't anticipate this being an issue for the Browns. I think they'll be able to handle that. So that's the whole Rooney Rule thing. If you've heard people debating that, I really think it's just the latest non-problem thing that people argue about just because it's the Browns. We'll talk about more in just a second, but first let me thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code WORSTTAKE. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. All right, so I've been keeping my eye on this Atlanta Falcons situation, right? Because for a number of reasons. One, Kevin Stefanski is obviously going to be related to the Cleveland Browns, right? Like he is the former head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He has a long history here. There's going to be some level in relation there. But because Kevin used to coach in Cleveland and now he's in Atlanta, he's going to be looking for guys to fill the ranks. And this is where I start to get interested from a Browns perspective in what's going on in Atlanta. See, the Atlanta Falcons announced today that they're going to bring Tommy Rees to be the offensive coordinator for Kevin Stefanski, which kind of signals that Kevin's doing the same shit that he was doing in Cleveland. So we can finally have an answer to the debate on if the personnel was that damn bad that the offense had to be as bad as they were in Cleveland, or if Kevin's secretly a genius. We'll have our answer to that. I think that Atlanta's probably going to have a middle-of-the-road to slightly below average offense, more than likely, if they're running it back. I got plenty of opinions on Kevin running it back, right? I think Kevin needs to understand that, like, he got fired for a reason. He didn't get fired for no reason. He does not think he got fired for a good reason. We'll see who's right. We'll get that case study during the year, or at least a little bit of information there based on what he's doing in Atlanta. Hopefully he learned something. Hopefully he has a good year. But that all being said, because he is bringing over Tommy Rees, he is doing the same thing. He's going to look for people who have experience in his system. And guess what? The Cleveland Browns have a ton of players who have experience doing what Kevin Stefanski has done. So the question here for me is, will the Falcons come knocking for some of the players on the Browns roster? Because I think that is very possible. Remember, Kevin Stefanski was very high on Dillon Gabriel. Very high on Dillon Gabriel. We don't know how he really felt about Shedeur, but very high on Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel is left-handed. The starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons is Michael Penix. Michael Penix is left-handed. It would make a lot of sense for the Atlanta Falcons to kick the tires on a potential trade for Dillon Gabriel. If you're the Browns, it would probably make some sense to move Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. One of those two. Because the relation of one of those two existing in the same room with each other has proven to be a dynamic that is not good for either of them. So you probably got to get rid of one. Now, I'll say this. If Kevin has the balls to trade for Dillon Gabriel, given what everybody in Atlanta is upset with him about is the whole Shedeur thing, good luck there dealing with that. But I feel bad for Dillon Gabriel because he's going to be dealing with the Shedeur shit in Atlanta, even though Shedeur's not on the roster, But that's kind of something that's opened up, right? Like, Kevin's going to be sniffing around this roster, trying to get guys that he felt like could be salvaged at the end of his run in Cleveland. Maybe he thinks that of Shedeur, right? Maybe he feels really good about the work that he did at the end of the season with Shedeur, and he goes and trades for him. I don't think that's going to be the case, but, maybe that's what he thinks. We'll see what happens, but keep your eye on that situation because Kevin's going to want some guys he has experience with, and he's only been a head coach one place, and we have all the guys he has experience with. So it's going to be something to definitely pay attention to. But that is the update around the league, what's going on with the Browns coaching search, Jim Schwartz news, the Browns and the Rooney Rule, all of this fun stuff. Make sure you stay locked in here, subscribed and notified so you don't miss anything. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.